Business, help you move forward with what's next. On the Comcast Business Hotline, he is the color analyst for the Colorado Rockies, but he'll be a part of the Apple TV broadcast tonight, which, of course, has the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the LA Dodgers. Former Colorado Rocky outfielder Ryan Spilborghs joins us. Ryan, good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thanks. I've enjoyed my time in Philly this week.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I saw you take the video in front of the Rocky statue, which just seems to be the thing that everybody does when they come here, and that's what you're supposed to do as tourists. So I'll ask you, what have you done so far in the city of Philadelphia, especially with your extended stay now that you're doing tonight's game?
Well, I always go. So it's one of my favorite runs. I'm a runner, so I usually run every day about 35 minutes. So where we're usually at, we're close to City Hall, and I run all the way down to the river to check out the boathouses and come all the way back. So I always laugh about running up the steps because it's on my way. So I do it every time I'm by there. Like I kind of joke that the part of the run that Rocky was running was super easy. It's like downhill. So I'm not impressed anymore.
When you do run around the city, I'm sure things in baseball and life are bouncing through your head. You saw the Phillies the last 3 nights. What are your impressions of them?
They're really, really good. I think it's a veteran lineup. They're probably the third oldest lineup in baseball. I think I have some, watching JT Realmuto fill 2 bags in a game, and he's 34 as a catcher is just like, God, you kind of admire how good he is. And then you're watching Bryce Harper. And, I remember when he made it to the big leagues at 19, right? So the team is in a place where I'm looking at them and I'm like, man, Zach Wheeler has a lot of miles on them. I love the trade for Jesus Luzardo. Christopher Sanchez is nasty. I was like, but I'm also being realistic here. And I was like, okay, Schwarber's a free agent. Real Muto's a free agent after this year. It feels like their window is kind of getting smaller. And I think when I'm watching this Phillies team, especially in contrast to what I've been seeing right now at the National League West, the National League West is nasty. The Padres are good, right? The Diamondbacks are good. Giants have lost 1 game. I think the Phillies have. This is kind of like I would assume in that clubhouse that, obviously you think you're going to win forever. But I would think there's got to be maybe a sense of urgency to this team specifically that maybe they haven't had quite in years past, because there could be, you could be like Boys to Men. You could be at the end of the road. So we'll see.
Right. We've been talking about it since before the season started, that this kind of feels like the last hurrah, at least with this core. Like Harper's not going anywhere. Trey Turner's not going anywhere. But you mentioned some of the guys on 1-year deals or 2 years left, especially a guy like Nick Castellanos, who it's been on the record they've tried to move on from him the last couple of seasons. So after last season, when they get beat up by the Mets and nobody really saw that coming, I mean, you've been in baseball locker rooms as a player. How does that motivate you going into a season where it does feel like this might be the last hurrah, and the previous postseason ended way too early for what this team was expected to do?
Yeah, I mean, and that one too. I mean, that's for a good team. I get on paper, record wise, you're like, hey, we won 95 games and this team won 89. We should beat them. I was like, that's not how it works. You get to the postseason, if you get hot, it's just timing of it. You run into a good starter, you run into somebody that runs into a homer, and you're knocked out. But I think, because baseball's so hard and it's such a grind, and getting to the World Series is a feat in itself. And if you lose a World Series, and I know, right, the Phillies did a couple of years ago against the Astros, you're so motivated to get back there because you taste it and you're so close. But baseball is so unique. It's not. Motivation doesn't do much more to make you play better. You just can't. You can't, baseball is the game where you can't try harder and play better. It doesn't work that way. So, I would just assume with this Phillies group is that the attention to detail, everything matters. Every day matters. Get your work in. Put yourself in the best position to succeed by your routine, your training, trusting your teammates, try to get team dinners, like all those little things that do add up over time, and then just get yourself back in a spot where you have a chance to go to the big dance for your last hurrah. I don't think you can have like a video montage like Rocky, and then all of a sudden you're going to win a world championship. It doesn't work that way. You need to stay healthy. You need to be motivated every day, and they should be in a good spot to get themselves close.
By the way, Ryan, these Apple TV broadcasts, the video quality of them and everything is absolutely second to none. It's fantastic. We love catching those games. They're a lot of fun. I got to ask you, is there anything that we as Phillies fans could take away from this weekend watching them play the Dodgers that would either positively or negatively influence our opinion on how they would do in October?
No, it's so early. I mean, it's April. You're less than 10 games into the season. I think it's a great, it's just two great teams early in the year that get to match up. I mean, like there's more stars right now in tonight's game than virtually any game around Major League Baseball. The fandom of Phillies fans is great. Fandom of Dodgers fans is great. Like the Dodgers are coming in with a super team that could go down. People have said like they're going to win over 125 games this year. You're like, come on, man, but they could. So I think you just sit back, you enjoy it. What you see today is gonna have zero impact of what you see in October. But
that's what my partner has been saying all morning to me, and I'm saying, look, I want to see how the Phillies pitching staff does against the Dodgers lineup.
Ryan, we've gotten to the point where John's going to bring in a lie detector test to see if I truly feel that way.
That they won't be affected, depending on what we see this weekend. Because if I see the Phillies pitchers, mow down that lineup and do really well against it, that gives me more confidence come October.
Yeah, well, you can think that way. That's fine. I like it.
You don't.
That's nice, Ryan. By the way, we're joined by Ryan Spilborghs, obviously former Rocky, and he's going to be a part of the call today on Apple TV. I caught something you said earlier. Now, you are going to be part of tonight's broadcast, which is Yamamoto versus Jesus Luzardo. But you said earlier that Christopher Sanchez is nasty. And Christopher Sanchez has been the guy that, like, every analyst or scout or GM has said, look out for this guy to potentially be a Cy Young candidate at the end of this year. We've been following the story of Christopher Sanchez. He has gotten better year in and year out. What makes him so good, in your opinion?
I mean, like if you want to get in the weeds, just the ball movement. He's a crossfire lefty, long arms, good extension, exceptional changeup, and he throws a crossfire two-seamer, which is like just nightmare for any right-handed hitter or left-handed hitter. So just great deception. He's a deception guy with velocity that's touching 97, with just almost like a traditional lefty from back in the day with a two-seamer and changeup, but this is like power. So most hitters that I talk to with the Rocks are like I couldn't pick it up, or late movement, or and he works really fast. So I just, those guys he would be the type of pitcher that I would have to face, as a right-handed hitter. And don't look up my numbers in Philadelphia because they're not good. No, they're.
Hey, you guys broke my heart in 07, man. That was the first time I saw the Phillies. First time I ever saw them make the playoffs in my lifetime, and it ended pretty quick.
Yeah, you look at my numbers against Philadelphia, and I rate the Phillies. So I just think when you see a guy like Christopher Sanchez, like, you just don't understand until you put your feet in the hitters, you in the hitter's mind, and then you understand, like, there's a lot of qualities that he has. And then, like, tonight, Jesus Luzardo, Garrett Crochet just got his long-term extension with Boston. Luzardo throws harder than him. He's the hardest throwing lefty in baseball, and he's got a wipeout slider. He's always had it. It's just staying healthy. So I mean, Luzardo, even without Ranger Suarez, who I know you guys love, Luzardo's nasty. So I think the Phillies are in a really good spot to be very competitive. And yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a nice litmus test in April to see how pitchers match up against lineups. But I don't know. Today I'm a fan. I'm a fan of watching these two teams.
Dude, you did rake against the Phillies. I just looked it up.
How bad?
Against the Phillies in his career, he hit .419.
What?
And you must have loved Citizens Bank Park. You hit .408 at CBP.
What?
Hitter-friendly ballpark, huh?
Yeah, bad pitchers too at that time. So
yeah. Well, listen, that helped too. Ryan,
You're sharing
listen,
the
man,
wealth,
we
yes.
appreciate it. We